Welcome back to Learn SKN, and today we're gonna conclude the January 2025 paper 2 for CSEC POB. So we're going to conclude the 2025 paper with question 5. So you know that means that we have done question 1, 2, 3, and 4. So feel free to go back in the playlist and check out those questions. So we're going to jump right in, but before we do so, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to know when Learn SKN drops another video. And also, feel free to check out the storefront where you can purchase the CSEC POB multiple choice questions and solutions. So we have the 2019, 2020, 2021, 2, 3, and 23 January multiple choice papers, and they have the answers to the back. So you have the questions in the book and the answers to the back. I'll be adding the 2024 soon enough, but I'll have to wait until I get some of them together to change up for our next edition. But still, you know, multiple choice, they keep repeating. So you jam 5 years, you should have an idea of what to expect. All right, so that's just my little housekeeping there. So let's jump right into today's question. Question 1. Well, A. Define the term business strategy. Business technology. And you will realize that, man, our textbook is so handy, right? It has in most of what we are looking for. It can almost answer these questions verbatim. So, business technology refers to inventions and discoveries created through applying knowledge in various fields, like science, design, engineering, information management, for business goals, right? So that's business technology. But if you want a more straightforward definition, you can look in the glossary of the same textbook. Business technology: the application of science, data, engineering, and information for business purposes, such as the achievement of economic and organizational goals. So, right, you can choose whichever definition you can remember, which one works best for you, right? So, you know, definitions, CXC to max, easy to max, just like that, and we're good to go. All right, moving right along. List 4 factors that determine a country's standard of living and or quality of life of its citizens. One thing you have to know is that this module 3, you know, a lot of people go down in module 3. Based on what CXC have said, a lot of people go down in module 3, so you have to make sure you're on top of module 3. So we're looking at standard of living or quality of life. And so, of course, our trusty textbook has in the answers. Right here in chapter 10, we can see standard of living is a measure of wealth as well as the basic needs and material comfort that the citizen has the ability to buy and to be able to enjoy. So standard of living, a measure of wealth as well as the basic needs and material comfort that a citizen has the ability to buy and be able to enjoy. So that's the definition. Now they're asking us for factors that would impact your standard of living, right? So obviously, if it's about wealth and things that you can afford to buy, we know naturally that means that our income would be a factor. Right here we have disposable income. That's a factor. If you're broke, so you can't afford certain things, you got money, you can afford certain things, certain cars, certain house, that kind of thing. So we know disposable income is one, right? And so that's part of it. So we are looking at the disposable income levels in the country, and so that can help determine the standard of living in that country. Also, of course, looking at other things like how much things you actually own in that country, how much things citizens own, how much, as I say, infrastructure and equipment, you know, how much cars you own, or what size your house is, all those kind of things. The private public sector, what kind of, as I say, capital equipment do you own that you can help to start another business? Access to modern technology. All those things can help determine your standard of living, right? You have seen as you grow up, technology has allowed for certain quality of life changes that can improve your standard of living, right? We are now able to, you know, access certain AI and those things to help us. So you see the book kind of outline all of these. The question, right? The question connecting standard of living and quality of life, because one can influence the other in certain regards. And so that's why they put it in one question. So you're looking at things like access to technology. We're looking at things like level of investment in research and technology within that country. Because if you have a low level of investment and research, then that would mean that the standard of living, quality of life would not be that high. Right? So we're looking at both of them here. And then we have things like access to high quality health care. Because remember, quality of life now deals with your well-being, whereas standard of living deals with the things you can afford and have access to. The quality of life deals with your well-being. How are you? Physically, mentally, emotionally. And things like, access to quality health care, access to quality education, level of crime in the country. Right? So all these can access to recreational facilities, so you can exercise and stay fit. Diet and nutrition, the life expectancy in the country that determines the quality of life. Also, we're looking at infant mortality rate. We're looking at access to electricity. So all of these are access to clean water. So all of these, you just, what I said, list, right? They only said to list. So you list any four and you should be good to go. All right. C, define each of the following terms: GDP and GNP, gross domestic product, gross national product. Right. So two different concepts that kind of in the same realm though. So again, jump to our textbook. I mean, you can basically read this book and pass the exam. But anyway, so gross domestic product, GDP, is the value of all final goods and services produced by every industry within a country each year. So put another way, gross domestic product is the monetary value of all goods and services produced within a country within a particular time period, usually 1 year. That's gross domestic product, right? So gross meaning all, without taking away anything. Domestic mean within the country, and product, of course, the output. So you have the gross domestic product, and then they have GNP now, gross national product. Gross national product is the monetary value of all goods produced by factors of production owned by citizens of a particular country during a particular time period, normally a year. So the difference there is that for GNP, includes the income of all citizens and companies of a country, no matter where. That's the key point there. No matter where in the world they have earned them, right? So that's what they say gross national. So it's about what nationals are producing, the monetary value of all goods and services produced by nationals of a country over a specific time period, usually a year. So that means that it doesn't matter whether they are domestically located or located overseas. So let's say a Caribbean citizen goes to America to produce, then that will be counted towards the Caribbean GNP, right? The GNP. So that's the difference of those two, and that's what they are speaking about. So again, low level of production is a major economic problem facing Caribbean countries. Outline two possible solutions other than education to this economic problem. All right, so we have low levels of production in the Caribbean. How do we solve this without education? All right, first thing first, production. Technology is almost always an answer for a lot of these questions. Technology, of course, if you improve technology, you have access to more advanced technology that would increase your efficiency, your productivity, and so now you can do more with less. And so therefore you're able to increase the levels of production. Think about it like this. What if I'm a farmer and I'm using manual labor to produce a crop, compared to if I start using harvesters and tractors and those kind of things? You see how one man can be more productive and more efficient, right? So improvement in technology is the solution. Next one, outside of education, FDI, foreign direct investment, where you allow foreign entities to invest in the country, come in, set up certain businesses that locals would not have access to, and then they will be able to bring their skills, expertise to the country, and then help us to develop further and increase our production, right? So that can raise the level of productivity within the country. So that's two. So FDI, foreign direct investment, and then we have the first one, technology. Of course, infrastructural development, right? The government have to invest in the infrastructure. Because what if, again, farming community, and the roads are so terrible that productivity, it take you 5, 10, 20 minutes to reach somewhere to come back because the roads are bad, so you gotta take your time. What if you don't have any lights? So you can't even work late because there's no lights. So infrastructure development can lead to improvements in production, increased productivity within the countries. Of course, things like government policies, rules, regulations, and policies, you have to change them so that they are more readily adaptable to increasing whatever level of production you want to increase. Because, for example, you might have some regulations that you cannot really produce certain things, certain levels, certain places. You can import this, you can export that, the costs, that kind of thing. You might have tariffs and those kind of things. So if you change some of that, that can spur the investment, and that can increase the level of production within these economies. So policies must change, must be reformed in order to encourage the increase in production. And of course, we might have to speak about access to capital. One of the biggest problems is that there's just not enough resources, monetary resources, for citizens to do what they need to do. So you need to increase the access to capital, money, and that can lead to more investment, and that can in turn increase the level of production within a lot of these Caribbean countries, right? So those are just, they asked for 2. I gave you multiple, so you can use those to get the answers, 4 marks. All right, the last question on this paper, the January 2025 paper, is this one. Explain 2 ways in which investment in education now by Caribbean government can lead to increase in production of goods and services in the region. So that one is a little more straightforward. So, of course, education means that you are developing your workforce, developing your human capital, you're increasing. So one thing that would lead to is increase in efficiency. Because if you know something, you are going to be able to do it in a short order, in a quicker manner, in a more effective, efficient manner. And so if you're educated, if you're trained, workshop and those kind of things, then your workforce become more efficient. Right? Your work will become more efficient. They're able to do things quicker with whatever they are given. So efficiency will improve. Like you ever see somebody who just don't know how to do something, and it's going to take them about 5 hours to get this thing worked out. Whereas somebody who knows it well, in 2-3 seconds, but they don't understand what's happening, they get it done, so you can do more within that particular day. So you can see where efficiency can come into play. And of course, efficiency can also mean more productivity. So a more educated workforce means a more productive workforce. Productivity means now that you as an employee, you can do more with either the same level of resources or less. You can do more. You become more productive. You're able to do, because when you know something, you're educated, you understand, you train, you're going to find unique ways of solving particular problems, new and more innovative ways to solve problems. You are now able to tap into different technologies, different ideas, different thoughts. Instead of doing things the same old way from way back, now you're able to use education to understand, okay, this is an easy way to do this. This technology out there can be used to do this a little better. So productivity would increase in the country as it relates to the production of goods and services. But let me pull out something. So let me just break it down even further so we can get more marks, right? So we can speak about efficiency. We can speak about productivity. We can break out innovation, right? We can say that the education can lead to a more innovative workforce, a more innovative populace, and so therefore innovation can lead to increase in production of goods and services, because innovation means solving problems in a more creative and unique manner. And so that can mean that they take certain technologies out there and apply them to whatever goods and services they are producing, and in a more innovative way, and so therefore that can lead to increase in production of that particular good or service, right? So you can see the whole thing about education is getting the citizens, the people, more knowledgeable And once you're more knowledgeable, you're able to be more efficient, more productive, more innovative, more creative. You're able to adapt to newer technologies, and you're able to solve problems in different creative ways, right? So those are ways in which education can help in terms of increasing production of goods and services within the country, right? And of course, the textbook is there to help. Improving the quality of education, increasing years of schooling, and widening access to education at all levels are key drivers of economic growth and development. Education widens the knowledge and skill of individuals, which helps to improve labor productivity significantly. Productivity is a major driver of economic growth. Furthermore, development of human resources. The development of human resources occurs through education, training, and experience. Human resource or labor is a key factor of production. Besides its obvious function in producing goods and services, labor is a driver of creativity, innovation, and technology. The development of human resource helps with the problem of unemployment as you become more marketable. So let's just carrying it on. They can choose to become entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs stimulate economic activity and bring innovation in all areas. Right? So you can see that education, human resource development can all add to a more productive, innovative, and efficient workforce. All right, so that's it for this question, this paper, 2025. Don't forget to check the website to get the booklet, right? It's very relatively cheap. Right now it's just $8. So you can log on and get that booklet. You know, the paper one is coming up, so make sure you purchase that. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening.